Thank you. All right, people. So we should have our parapet level taken care of now. What I want to do is go to my ground floor level. And you remember we cut this section the other day. So I'm going to click on that section, right click, and say go to view. And remember, this is where we put our call out in the other day. If you look at every floor level, there is a mass, a generic 12-inch mass at each floor. And what we're wondering is, how are we going to handle supporting that floor at each level, right? So I want to pause the video and talk about something. So what we discussed just now on pages 432 and 433 of the book is that we're going to have these K-joists that we're going to use. And for right now, we are going to use a 24K5 for what we're going to do. Well, what does that mean? That means when I come back into Revit and I look at these empty masses right now, what I'm going to have to do is place in a joist. How am I going to do that? Well, there's a number of different ways we can approach this, but let's do this at the first floor level. At the first floor level, what I am going to do is I am going to go to Insert, Load Family, and I'm going to go down to Structural Framing. Once I get there, I'm going to go to Steel, and I'm going to look at what? The K. Now, I could use the angle or the rod. We're going to use the angles, and it's going to ask me, what do you want to put in? I know I need the 24K5. But what I'm also going to load is, well, for right now, I'll just load the 24K5. And I'm going to say, okay, right? Now, after a few seconds, I'm going to go down in my project browser, down to my families. I'm going to click on structural framing, and I'm going to click on this K series bar joist, and I'm going to drag it over into my drawing, and now it's giving me an opportunity to draw. From the center line above B1 right now, or at B1, I'm going to draw from there to there. Now, keep in mind, I haven't even looked at what's going on over there. So you're going to see a problem in a minute. And I'm going to come all the way to here. And it's telling me, oh, I can't see it. Oh, I don't see anything. Why don't I? Let's go back to our section. Now there's that K-joist. Is it drawn at the right place? Why can't I see it in the first floor? We can't see it because it is what? It is below our floor level. Remember, people, our view range. Look at the bottom of my view range. It's an offset of 0 from the first floor. If you look at the my section view, section 1, you can see now how this thing is bearing on what? It is bearing on the first floor level. So I'm not going to see it because it's right at what? The first floor. Now, all that said, let's go back into our call out view to look at something. In our call out view now, if I look carefully, beyond my floor, if I click on this and right click this floor and say hide in view elements, now you see this thing bearing. What is the problem, people? If you look at it when it's highlighted, look at the seat of that joist. Can that seat sit there? No, it cannot. So what do I need to do to it? I'm going to click on it, and for just a moment, I'm going to drag it out here so I can see something. This is the seat of that joist. That seat has to sit on top of our bond beam. That's where it's getting its support. So I can click on this, and if I look in here, can I see how deep the seat is? No, I don't see that information right now, right? But that information was there when I was loading it up. But the good news is I can simply measure it and see that that seat is 2.5 inches, which you'll find out is very common for K-joists to have a seat between 2 and 2.5 inches. Some are even a little less than 2. So what do I need to do in this instance? I'm going to need to click on this joist, and I am going to have to give an offset in here of what? 2.5 inches and 2 6.5 inches. Now that thing jumps up, I can drag it back in, and I can do what? I can see it sitting on it. So now you can see where it's sitting. It's sitting right on top of what? The bond beam, like it needs to in this instance. So I'm going to need you to go in and do what I just did, okay? And then we'll go ahead and stop this video and pick up in the next one.